Hello there, everyone. Yo soy Alonso y están escuchando el podcast de Salón de Idiomas. Hello, bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio de aquí del podcast de Salón de Idiomas. Y aquí, como ya es costumbre, tengo a Rox acompañándome para que podamos hablar un poquito hoy del examen Linguaskill. So, welcome, Rox.
Hey, hi again.
Just let's cut to the chase then. What is the Linguaskill test?
Okay, so this is basically an exam carried out by Cambridge Institute. And the interesting thing is that it's an adaptive test. Yeah, so basically, it's multi-level, same way with aptis, for instance, or IELTS, TOEFL. But the idea is that depending on your performance, you might be assigned more or less difficult exercises, right? So it actually adapts to your level.
Wow, so I guess that allegedly you should have always something that is not too difficult nor too easy for you.
Kind of, yeah, indeed. So what they actually want to make sure is that they want to make sure that your level is exactly the one you're actually showing at first. So imagine that you start doing the reading and the first exercises are a piece of cake. Now, the following ones are likely to have a higher level. Now, if the following ones, your outcome is not that positive, this, so as to say, artificial intelligence will decide whether they will keep asking you same level exercises or they will keep verging around or moving around the previous level you have shown.
Okay, so well, I guess that this implies that these have a bunch of questions, or?
Yeah, it does have quite a few questions for sure, and I do believe they have many a full data of exams from which they actually choose which one to ask you depending on how well you've done it.
Well, surely Cambridge has a plethora of material to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have been in the business for probably centuries already. Yeah. So, speaking of which, is this test as well known as the traditional Cambridge test?
Oh, well, it's already been for some years now in the market, and of course, belonging to Cambridge, well, that actually makes it famous instantly.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that, it still needs some time to get on the ball. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's already famous to a certain extent, especially to teachers. And the candidates who are eager to have a certificate pretty soon. And among this, I mean, in this aspect, I will say that it's pretty common. This exam is pretty famous. Now, it still has a long way to go if it wants to reach the same reputation the Cambridge exam have already. I think it's a matter of getting used to it because, I'm not sure whether we've said that, but this is an online exam.
Yeah. So is it the only way that you can do it at home, or can you go to, I don't know,
Yes, you can. There is there are several centers where you can actually do it again online from a computer, but not from home. So it's that's up to you.
Okay, well, to be honest, I don't know why would someone would rather go to a place where they are going to feel completely a subject test all the time.
There are quite a few of us. Imagine your internet doesn't work well at home, so in the end you have nothing else to do but okay, I'm gonna go to this place. I know, all right. I've just changed the company I'm with at home with the internet, and it goes really sluggishly. So I wouldn't I wouldn't gloss over the fact that there's a different chance.
Yeah, well, definitely. I wouldn't want to blame it on my internet connection if I pass or not my test. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess that a question which raises here is it easy to cheat if you actually do it from home? And I believe we have talked about that, or perhaps you, when talking about language cert, right?
Yes.
Because it's like it goes along the same lines. You actually do the exam from home. Well, I'm afraid that I have to tell you the truth, is almost impossible to cheat. And if you manage to do that, the chances are really high that you are gonna be.
You're gonna get caught.
You're gonna get caught, and therefore you lose any chances of doing the exam again.
So yeah, don't try to do that.
Yeah, just be honest. Even though you feel cozy at home, just don't cheat.
So comparing it to language cert, what are the differences when it comes to the setup of the your online version of the test? Do you have to download a software or something like that?
Yeah, I think in both cases you need a software which actually takes over your computer, your desktop and stuff when you start the exam. Now, I believe that the main difference is the programs they use, okay, when it comes to assessing you. In both cases, you're being constantly recorded, but I believe that with language cert, there's actually humans behind watching you at the same time. So if you have doubts, they are there at hand for you.
Oh, nice.
And regarding the speaking, which is, by the way, really interesting. Now, I know that with language cert, you actually have a person behind the screen. You can see them, okay, as if you were actually talking to someone on Skype, for instance. And they are the ones asking you the questions, whereas with Linguaskill, it's just you answering the questions which pop up on the screen. You're timed, and apparently there's no one behind there. Of course, they're being recorded.
Oof. Okay, so that's one thing that concerns me, since when I took the language cert test, I knew that there was a person behind the desk, taking a look at what I was doing. Right. So every now and then when I have to think about something, I kind of perhaps move away my eyes from the screen.
Yeah.
And I immediately was like, oh no, perhaps they're gonna think that I'm cheating. I mean, they weren't thinking that way. However, perhaps the machine might think otherwise. Or the person behind was you were taking a look at somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, of course, when it comes to the speaking, you actually have there are 48 hours once you've done the speaking exam. So you're going to have the results in 48 hours. It means that, it's not an instant, so you don't have the score instantly. And it means that, of course, you're likely to be actually watched by, so your recording is going to be watched by someone.
Okay, well.
But at least, I'm not pretty sure whether they can. I mean, they cannot tell you anything. It's hey, hello, sorry, what are you looking at? Or as
exactly.
in language, or they might
exactly. They might, hey, don't forget that you cannot look. So yeah, it might be really unfortunate if you end up just taking a look at your hand to find inspiration.
I do have to point out here that these are quite state-of-the-art programs, right? So the monitoring is really thorough, okay? So they're going to monitor you really carefully, no matter whether there's a person behind or not, a human behind, or just a robot.
Well, I hope that goes the other way around, to be you were not cheating, you were just looking at your the infinite.
yeah
I hope so. Yeah. So you said that it takes about 48 hours to get the results from this test. What about the reading and the listening part?
Yeah, well, that's a combined part. Okay, so you have you have the speaking, which actually goes differently. So you do the speaking it's scheduled on a separate day, right? And then you have the reading and the listening combined, which are they go from 60 to 85 minutes, because as I told you, it actually depends on your performance. And then you have the writing, right? So for the reading and the listening, the results will be immediately delivered.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
you already know once you finished, I've passed or not.
So you see, that's the reason why this test is not as popular as the old Cambridge, since the old Cambridge takes like 3 months to give you the answers.
Yeah.
So you're all the time thinking about it. It's like they keep you in the loop.
Yeah. So you end up like really reminding.
Exactly. Like it's always in your head, like, oh, Cambridge.
So
That's
no one
why.
could take your anxiety out there for like 3 months. And
Exactly. So this is the reason why this test is not as popular as the other one. It's not as present in your mind.
You have the result right away. Well, the result with the listening and reading, you do have to wait for 12 hours until the results for the writing skills are available. And as I told you, the speaking, it's like 2 days. But yeah, I mean, your suffering is not is not going to linger that much as unfortunately happens with these traditional exams like Cambridge or even Trinity. Yeah.
So what happens if I fell off one of these parts? Let's say that I don't do that well in the speaking part, but then I actually do fantastically with the reading and the listening. Do I have to redo the whole thing, or can I just do the part that I failed?
You can just do the part that you failed.
Oh,
but you have
nice.
like 2 parts, right? So you have the listening and you have the rest of the skills. So if you fail the writing, you'll have to do again all the reading and listening and writing, right? But if you have failed the speaking, you will have to do just the speaking part.
Okay, fantastic. So now, what kind of resources can someone get if they are trying to prepare themselves for this test?
Okay, so the positive thing here is that Cambridge puts at hand a plethora of different material for you to work with. And on their webpage, you have even some mock exams, so you can actually do them. You have a really nice guide, long guide for you to get to know, like basically every detail of the different skills, and that's pretty nice. And yeah, so I will, if you are really interested into this exam, for sure you might already know the web page, which is the Cambridge web page and the one they have for Linguaskill. And gradually you can encounter even more material on YouTube as well. Okay, actually in our channel we already have some models for you to practice.
Sweet.
Yeah, I encourage you, just go there. And on the blog, so there's like plenty of materials. I do have to, but I honestly believe that the speaking part should be, for the speaking part, we should do another episode, honestly, because it's quite...
Yeah, there is a tricky story behind that, so we should definitely look more into that in another episode.
Yeah, yes, but for that one, if you ask me for material, I would say that it does need some extra work there, and yeah, there are like many ways of preparing the speaking, and I'm pretty sure that you might need someone to prepare you.
Okay, so one last question before I forget. Do you believe that this test is as difficult as the Cambridge, like the traditional one, or do they follow the same difficulty gap? I mean, when you're trying to get the C1, when you're trying to get the B2, whatever your intentions are.
That's actually a pretty good question, and it's one of the questions we are constantly asked. Yeah, it's like, which is the easiest exam? Where I wish I could told you exactly which one. However, okay, so by and large, I would say that the Cambridge exams are a bit more demanding than this exam, which still belongs to Cambridge. But I mean, it's like the traditional exams are still more demanding. They are more expensive. They take longer to prepare, and you still encounter use of English, so that's like an extra skill in the exam. So therefore, that makes it more challenging. If you want to leave behind a bit the old-fashioned way, you can move on to Linguaskill, which is, I believe, Cambridge has been pretty aware of the importance of of being on the ball with the rest of the exams popping up like Linguaskill's. So they came up with this one, and it's a bit more bearable to my mind than the traditional one. Now, if you ask me, Linguaskill compared to other exams, no, that's a different story.
Oh, really? Okay, well, still, so I guess that one big recommendation is where, like, whatever reason you're trying to get your certificate, which certificate does it accept? Like, does it accept aptis? Does it accept? So you can end up just...
Yeah, definitely. So if you're like really, I mean, we can talk about that in a different episode. Like, we can analyze different exams and see a bit the pros and the cons of each of them, right? So yeah, it actually depends on many factors.
Okay, well, so one last thing. Well, I know that I have already said that, but well, so just one last thing. What kind of other places besides, the YouTube channel that we have, where else can people go?
Well, of course, I know from my experience, but we are constantly on Instagram. We are pretty keen on Reels and on information we publish there for free for you to have access to. So I would recommend you to go to our Instagram and to our Facebook page. There are like a bunch of things and pretty interesting stuff. Go there and you will encounter like a lot of material.
So if you're like really looking forward to it, you can just binge watch all these documents or all this material that we have on the...
Yeah, there's food for a while. Okay, there's food for a while there. So just try to discover all the channels we are in.
Sweet. So then I guess that will be it for today.
Yeah, just a short reminder. I wanted to tell you guys that at Salón de Idiomas we do have this like really interesting platform with online courses. We have like plenty of them, from Aptis to Linguaskill's, Trinity, and pretty soon Linguaskill's. So, Linguaskill. So I would urge you to go there and even do some mock exams.
There you have it. So you can also have a little more extra practice over there. Fantastic.
Yeah, the more the better.
Exactly. There you are. Fantastic.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Rox, for coming today. So I hope to see you soon again.
Yeah, more likely.
Bye.
Bye.
Genial, ahora vamos a tomar un pequeño descanso y volveré para explicarles un poquito la entrevista que acabamos de tener. Hola de nuevo, aquí vamos entonces a hablar un poquito de la entrevista que tuve con Rox. Empezamos la entrevista con una expresión idiomática que personalmente uso bastante a menudo, cut to the chase o ir al grano en español. Aunque también la pueden usar como petición, tal vez demasiado directa si me preguntan, algo así como cut to the chase, ve al grano. Así que bueno, to cut to the chase, yo le pregunto a Rox qué es el examen Linguaskill, a lo que ella me explica que es un examen online de Cambridge multinivel adaptativo, lo que quiere decir que, por un lado, se asemeja al aptis test o al IELTS o TOEFL, debido a que dependiendo de tu desempeño, puedes tener un certificado de B1, B2 o C1. En el caso de Linguaskill, y, por otro lado, lo que lo hace stand out from the rest, o resaltar sobre los demás, es que la dificultad de las preguntas se va ajustando acorde a lo bien que lo estés haciendo, y así llegar a un punto donde las preguntas reflejan tu nivel de fluidez con precisión, es decir, se adapta. Luego Rox me clarifica que al inicio las preguntas serían bastante sencillas, a piece of cake, pero las siguientes ya serían un poco más complicadas y si vas equivocándote, la inteligencia artificial que corrige esta prueba decidirá si seguir con preguntas de ese nivel o bajarlo un poco. Así que yo le pregunto si hace muchas preguntas. Rox confirma que sí y agrega que usan su extenso repertorio de exámenes para las preguntas que se hacen. Como digo, seguro que tienen a plethora of material, lo que es lo mismo que a lot of material, pero más formal. Recomiendo mucho esta palabra para sus essays o reports. Después le pregunto a Rox si este examen está a la altura del examen tradicional de Cambridge y Rox me dice que siendo de Cambridge es popular, pero aún necesita un poco de tiempo para estar on the ball o estar de moda. De igual manera es famoso to a certain extent o hasta cierto punto, especialmente entre los docentes y cualquiera que busque conseguir un certificado en poco tiempo. Sin embargo, aún le falta mucho para llegar a tener la reputación del examen de Cambridge tradicional. Cabe destacar que no solo puedes hacer este examen desde casa, sino que también podrías hacerlo en alguno de los centros de examinadores avalados por Cambridge, lo cual Rox considera como una buena opción si tu internet no va muy bien. Creo que además nadie querría pensar que depende de tu internet el que pases el examen o no. Ahora, la pregunta es, ¿podríamos hacer trampa si lo hacemos en casa? Pues Rox piensa que es casi imposible y que si llegases a hacerlo es probable que te pillen y así perder la oportunidad de hacer el examen de nuevo, por lo que no cheating. A continuación, le pregunto a Ross cuál sería la diferencia con Language Search con respecto a realizar el examen desde casa, y me dice que en ambos casos tienen un software que toma control o takes over tu ordenador para asegurarse de que no vas a distraerte del examen viendo memes o consultando Google. Además, graban todo y te monitorizan todo el tiempo, con la diferencia que en Language Search hay un examinador quien, en el caso del speaking, te hace las preguntas y lo puedes ver, mientras que para Linguaskill se muestran las preguntas solas y tú solo tienes que seguir las instrucciones y responder en el tiempo dado. Aquí se te graba y la misma inteligencia artificial te evaluará. A mí honestamente me preocupa un poco no tenerla a alguien de carne y hueso, aunque sea detrás de la pantalla, pero bueno, hay que adaptarse a estos formatos. Rox entonces me comenta que los resultados se reciben a las 48 horas de haber realizado el examen y que estos son programas muy state of the art, es decir, muy modernos y que usan los métodos e ideas más recientes. Algunos ejemplos pueden ser cutting edge o leading edge. Dicho esto, el monitoreo de estos exámenes es muy thorough o exhaustivo, lo que también podemos asumir que, ya sea el robot o la persona la que nos examine, podrá diferenciar si estamos solo pensando o intentando hacer trampa. Continuando con la parte del listening y reading, los cuales se hacen juntos, pero un día diferente al speaking, toma entre 60 a 85 minutos aproximadamente en hacer, tomando en cuenta que depende de tu desempeño. El resultado, afortunadamente, se provee inmediatamente una vez finalizado el examen. Por otro lado, en el caso del writing, tendrás que esperar 12 horas para recibir los resultados. Yo especulo que una de las razones por las cuales este examen que no es tan popular, a pesar de sus pros como comodidad y precio, es que no te tienen con la intriga por meses como en el examen tradicional, así que el terror no te deambula en la mente de manera constante. Con respecto a si fallamos en el examen, solo tendríamos que repetir la parte en la que no hayamos llegado a la puntuación deseada, lo cual también nos quita mucha presión de los hombros. Aunque el reading, listening y writing se realizan a la vez. Eso sí, si fallamos o no llegamos a la puntuación necesaria, que suele ser el requisito de donde sea que tengamos que entregar nuestro título de inglés, habría que volver a hacer las 3 skills juntas, es decir, no se puede hacer solo una habilidad por separado. Ya casi terminando, Rox nos cuenta que para prepararse para este examen hay mucho material en la página de Cambridge, en YouTube, que por cierto en nuestro canal de YouTube también pueden conseguir muchas cosas de utilidad. Y para finalizar, Rox considera que este examen es tal vez menos exigente que el examen tradicional, ya que por ejemplo no tiene la parte de Use of English, pero al ser de la misma institución, igual habrá que tomarse un tiempo para prepararse. Y bueno, así terminaría la entrevista que tuve con Rox. Así como hemos hablado previamente, no olviden que también pueden entrar a nuestro Instagram, a nuestro canal de YouTube, a nuestro website para conseguir muchísimo material de este examen, así como cualquier otro que de repente tengan en mente. Espero que les haya gustado y les haya sido de utilidad para preparar este examen. Y si es así, les recomiendo que se mantengan al tanto. Stay tuned, ya que probablemente en próximos episodios estaremos hablando de más partes del skill de este test. Bueno, espero que tengan un gran día y nos vemos en un próximo episodio. Bye. Esto fue una producción de Salón de Idiomas. Se reservan todos los derechos.